first, second, and fourth quarters, but lost by double digits. Miami opened the third quarter on a 22-2 run, finishing with a 25-point advantage. Jimmy Butler outscored the Celtics by himself. Celtics would bounce back on the road in Game 2, jumping out to a 25-point lead in the first half that they would hold on to for the rest of the game, draining 23s on 50% shooting in the process. Bam Adebayo did everything for the Heat in Game 3. Adebayo led Miami in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. And the Heat led by as many as 26 in the first half to retake the lead in the series. Back we go. Game 4, Boston stormed out of the gate. Miami did not make a shot until 3:22 in the first quarter, longest drought to start any playoff game in the last 25 years. And after a sluggish first half in Game 5, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown combined for 37 points on 14 of 23 shooting in the second, just one shy of the Heat's total as a team to capture the series lead and a chance to close out the Heat. New on SportsCenter, Victor Oladipo, what's the mindset tonight?
We all been through adversities in our careers, in our lifetime. This just adds to it, and, it's going to be a tough game, obviously, and we understand that it's going to be a war, honestly, and we have to come with the right approach, right mindset, and just think about the task at hand.
You can't look past a team at any stage. You can't think about the next game before you take care of the one that you're focused on. And for this team especially, this is a team that's going to come out and give you their best shot and their best punch. You don't want to give them any chance to kind of have that exuberance, that pep to come back and hopefully bounce back. So for us, we were in that position last series. So we understand the intensity and physicality and everything that you kind of have to play with and expect to see. So for us, it's just a matter of now we're going from, I guess, Amy said, the hunted to the hunter. So we have to do a great job of adapting to that and being consistent in our own mentality.
That closeout game, typically the hardest to get, as we're joined now by ESPN senior NBA reporter Brian Windhorst. And Brian, Miami has been outscored by 29 points in the past 5 quarters played in Boston. So now on the brink of elimination, how are the Heat? What are you hearing about how they're approaching a return to the Garden?
They're trying to sell a positive attitude, Matt, that they still believe that they can do it because they went through some adversity throughout the regular season with injuries. Eric Spoelstra hasn't used these words, but he's kind of, loosely referenced 10 years ago here when he came up here down 3-2 and scored a massive victory. Of course, he had LeBron James that night playing one of the greatest games of his career, trying to talk about how that was so pivotal. But the big thing for the Heat this morning is that Tyler Hero was able to do a little bit in their shoot-around. Eric Spoelstra said he is trying to convince both himself and the trainers that he can get cleared to play tonight on that groin. Not having Tyler Hero has been enormous the last 2 games. He averages 21 points a game. The Heat have barely cracked 80 points in those games. So even if Hero can play, I'm not sure what he's going to give, and that's going to be the issue for Spoelstra tonight. As he sees what his guys who are questionable, even if they can play, will he stick with them if they don't look like they've got it? Because he's stuck with them the last few games and it hasn't worked out.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's been the tenor of this series. Injuries on both sides of the ball. You just touched on the Heat. Now to Boston, hoping Marcus Smart and Robert Williams will be a go for Game 6. I want to start with Smart. What are you hearing about his availability just hours from now?
Yeah, Matt, he's listed as questionable. He was listed as questionable last game, was able to go, was not close to 100%, only 1 of 5 shooting in that game, but he was able to give them some good minutes defensively. Derek White has been good as in reserve, but I don't know if that's going to continue. And then, obviously, you have Robert Williams. Robert Williams has been one of the most important players in this series. He is questionable again with this bone bruise in his knee. Some days it feels good, some days it feels bad. When he did not play in Game 3, Bam Adebayo scored 31 points. The other 4 games where Robert Williams has defended Bam Adebayo, he's averaged 11 points and just 8 shots. That is I know it's a defensive player of the year with Marcus Smart, but the important player availability tonight will be whether Robert Williams is in the lineup. He is questionable. He's hoping to go.
Yeah, so many storylines with the injuries, but the biggest one, can the Celtics get it done tonight at home? All gets going 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. Brian Windhorst, thank you.
And now to the man that knows defense, the Timberwolves' Patrick Beverley with us on SportsCenter. Pat Bev, still trying to wrap our brains around the fact that Miami missed no less than 38 three-pointers in Game 5, shooting 15% from long distance. What do you expect to see tonight from Boston in terms of disrupting that Heat offense?
Well, first off, I got to kick off this show with one thing. Swag champ. Mrs. Hannah, always looking good per usual.
But you're resplendent in Dior, I must say. So,
but no, I just say, Boston. Again, I'll keep repeating it. I was wrong about the series. I had the Heat. Obviously, health played a big part in the series. But if I'm on Boston and I'm going for the kill tonight. I don't want to go back to Miami. How good Miami is weather-wise, I don't want to go back to Miami and play. I want to end it right here in front of a crowd, a great crowd at that. I think that's the Celtics mindset for sure.
I mean, you were talking about this yesterday on Get Up, just how intense it is. What is it like to go into Boston and play a game like this in front of that crowd?
I mean, it's different. I remember coming to Boston this year. And I had my little headphones in to try to kind of lock in, and you still heard the Boston crowd. I mean, the heckling is at an all-time high. Don't mess around and shoot the air ball. You might be going for the whole game. So you gotta give those Boston fans, man, a lot of credit. They've been waiting a long time for this, and it's much deserved.
Yeah, and that crowd has been like that for decades in Boston. All right, meanwhile, Jimmy Butler, he's never going to make excuses, but we all know he's playing with the knee inflammation and averaging just 9 points a game over his last 3. Who has to step up, get going early tonight in this game?
I mean, it's unfortunate. Again, we speak about health, man. Unfortunate. Obviously everyone wants to see a great game. We want to see Tyler Hero play. We want to see a healthy Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry hasn't been healthy all playoffs. You have to give the players a lot of credit for trying to fight through it, but at the same time, does that hurt the team at the same time? I don't know, but it's unfortunate, man. Health is a real thing, but a game like this, you need everybody to step up. You need everyone. You need contributions from everybody, and I think Oladipo is gonna try to put a stamp on this game tonight.
Oladipo, see, I'm surprised you didn't say Bam.
Nah. I kind of like Bam. You kind of know what you're going to get from Bam. Last 3 games, he's been, almost 20-9. So you kind of know what you're going to get from Bam. But as far as the others stepping up and having a key game, I think it's Oladipo.
All right, let's look for him early. You just heard Brian Windhorst say, though, if guys aren't going early, there may be a quick pull from that game on the part of Spo because they got to get some scoring. Celtics are 8.5-point favorites. Pat Bev, back in a bit. Thanks.
Ms. Hannah.
Told you about Closeout Friday here. Same as it ever was after a couple of year absence. The Golden State Warriors looking to close out. The Dallas Mavericks head back to the NBA Finals. It was clear that it was going to be Klay Day last night for Klay Thompson. Everybody working. Up 18 were Golden State. I mean, Dallas didn't even have an opportunity to breathe. In Golden State was already up 18. Under 3 to play in the half. Jordan Poole shakes Luka. 16 points for Poole. Luka struggled on both ends. Lowest scoring half in a playoff career. The Warriors would lead 69-52 at the break. Absolute beatdown. Struggles would continue for Doncic in the third. Working in the post. That just doesn't fall. It was a good move. Now we're going in transition. Green behind the back. Is it Klay? Is it Klay? 21. Doncic is like, what do I have to do to make a bucket? He would respond. Under 3 left in the third. Doncic, step back. Next possession. Another one. Look, he can get it going in bunches. And it's dangerous when he does. Mavs finished the quarter, 15-2 run. Doncic 10 points, 1 assist during the run. Dallas cuts that lead to 10 after 3 quarters. So there's hope. 4 to play, 13-point game. Doncic again. 28 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 10-point game. Couple of possessions later. Again, the story, Klay Thompson. 5th career playoff game with 8 3-pointers. Up 15. How about this for a little exclamation points? And the Golden State Warriors are headed back to the NBA Finals. Their 6th trip to the Finals in 8 seasons. They take this series 4-1, 120-110 to final. Splash Brothers reflect.
Man, you're gonna make me emotional, man. It's just hard to put into words, man. Like, I dreamt of this day during some dog days, and to be here, I'm so thankful for our squad, man. They started the season so incredibly well, allowed us to finish out strong, and we are 4 wins away from a championship.
The fact me, Clay, Draymond, from 2015 to now, having a chance to compete for, a championship. The feeling leaving 2019 finals and got hit with a lot of adversity and some speed bumps, but never lost the faith that we could get back here. This is definitely special.
Remember the finals, Clay tore the ACL, hadn't been the same since, but here they are, 6 trips to the finals. Good to see Clay back. Incredible longevity in the Warriors' core of Gurry, Thompson, and Green. The win over Dallas marks their 21st postseason series win together, second most by any trio over the last 30 seasons. The only trio of Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker, Hannah. They were
San Antonio's a really good comparison in terms of organizations, how they're run, the decisions that they made. And Pat Bev is back with us. So a couple of years ago, the Warriors are just 15-50, right? Clay and Steph are injured. Now they're back in the finals, 6th time in 8 seasons. First team to do that since MJ's Bulls. We like to sit around and blame people. Let's give some credit, all right? Let's give some people their flowers. Who do you give credit to for the Warriors being back in the finals?
First off, there's a lot of flowers that got to go around, too. But first off, I'm going to start with the ownership. Obviously, we both know from, you guys know from a media and a player standpoint that ownership can be very cutthroat. They stayed with these guys when they were hurt. They didn't make big changes. Even Steve Kerr was hurt. His back's been messed up. They stayed with him. So you have to give ownership a lot of credit. They kept this team together, build around the core, kept it together. You have to give Steve Kerr a lot of credit to be a player, to be a player and a coach. But as much success goes into the type of man he is, and obviously the core group. And when I mean the core group, obviously we speak of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, but you can't forget about Looney and Andre Iguodala. They're as big as pieces, just like anyone else. So you talk about giving flowers to people. I think it's a lot to give around, but you have to with those guys, especially Looney, who's been in hasn't had a lot of in and lineup, out of lineup. This year, he's sturdy. He's always there. He's always playing through injuries. Always playing strong. You have to give everyone top to bottom organization.
Yeah, just a rebounding machine. I'm so glad you brought up Steve Kerr because people forget that. Like the incredible amount of pain that he was in because of that back and all the spine, the injuries that he was having with his spine for years. That is definitely worth remembering. All right, let's talk about Dallas before I let you go. We saw what Luka did in the gentleman's sweep, averaging 32 points a game. But let's talk about maybe that Mavericks leadership. I mean, what do they have to do to take this team to the next level?
We got to spend a lot of money. We got to spend a lot of money. In this league, the richest teams and the healthiest teams always win. The Warriors, they have a big team budget. I don't know if they're over the cap now, but Dallas has to spend some money. They have to go get a dynamic rolling center, some rim protection. They got to get healthy. Tim Hardaway didn't play. He's a big key piece of them. You talk about the dynamic of Brunson. How does that look with paying him and also getting a rim protecting big with a lot of rebounds? So in order to be successful in this league, you got to spend some money. And I don't think Mark Cuban has a problem doing that.
Yeah, well, he's got the money, right? It's just spending it.
A little bit.
We know he has it. Really quickly, Luka, where do you want to see him get better?
I like Luka. People talk about his conditioning and people talk about all that. I mean, whatever that means. He comes to play big games. He show up. Big matchups. He show up. They just took out the number one team in the NBA for a long time, the Phoenix Suns. They took out that. So I like Luka. He's going to continue to get better. He has no big wear and tear on his body. It's not like he's out there dunking and jumping around. So you can see a 23-year-old playing that Jokic type, playing until he's about 38, 39 years old. Game not changing.
Yeah, God willing. All right, Pat Bev, great to have